Today, we're looking at a yellow ink from Atramentis, Emma Goldman Gold. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so that if you're in a hurry, you can skip around. But if you got the time, check out the entire video. Also, if you're interested, you can follow me over on Instagram. And if you're new here, I would invite you to subscribe. I do a new ink review daily. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this cross Bailey with a medium nib. I wrote with it for a day and then used it to take the notes for this video. In order to standardize, I always use Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper in this first writing sample. There will be more writing samples on different papers later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it comes in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X 450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X 750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. Now the extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, some very nice shading going on. Look at what's going on with the, starts light and gets dark, quick goes dark to light to dark, brown starts dark, gets light, and it's all very readable as a tone. As a yellow ink, this is amazing. 8 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and the same great shading. It is just fantastic. Look at how Fox is lighter on the top of the F, darker on the bottom of the F. Then it works its way dark, as a mid-tone into the O and dark at the X. Gorgeous. 12 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show plenty of color variation, looking far left to far right, and we get it in the writing. Here's something people are just going to overlook because it's a yellow. Tomoe River, no bleeding, no real ghosting, it's yellow. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. Now the extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and it shades. Brown starts dark, gets light, gets dark. Look at Fox, it's light at the top, dark at the bottom of the F, light into the O, dark at the X. Gorgeous. 11 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, same great shading we get with the extra fine. I am just loving this ink. 14 seconds to dry. I keep cutting it short when I go to say it. 14 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show color variation far left to far right, but it's better in the writing than in the scrubby. And in Rhodia, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen. Great same shading that we've been seeing before. This is an amazing ink right here. This is worth trying just to get out of your comfort zone for colors. 9 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen. Same great shading. 12 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show color variation left to right, better in the writing than it is in the scrubby. I agree with Vita that we learn a lot when we do multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see this gray tone at the bottom. It pushes it up. We get a very bright yellow and then this orange tone. Now this is how they're making the gold color. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And that grayish tone is very there on a line at the bottom, making me feel that that might be a bit of a resistant color when it comes to cleaning out. Now the yellow pushes up as normal and same with the orange. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page and how hard it may be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I wouldn't use this in a note-taking situation because of how blown out that lowercase h got. Otherwise, I would think it would be fine, but I won't use it for that reason. Now, that makes a little sense when you look at water. I was expecting some resistance when it came to this ink. Water looks like it's completely breaking it up, starting to show some of the white of the paper coming through, which does make me feel that water is all that you need to get this out of your pen. But if you need it a little bit more, pen flush is very definitely showing a lot of the white of the paper. So there would be no need to go farther than that. No need for the 1/3 bleach solution that does completely obliterate it from the paper. I test ink viscosity or flow by using a tilt test, and I'll link that somewhere here. And for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Put the data onto a bell curve or standard deviation for it to be easily understood. Atramentis Gold has a viscosity of 2.16, making it normal. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with a realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. I find this by using my writing samples that were done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Atramentis Gold has an average dry time of 11 seconds, making it a faster drying ink. Instead of finding inks that look like Atramentis Gold, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I wanted a nice blue-black, and I chose Krishna's Permanent Blue-Black. The second writing sample is done on a Life, Levenger, and Franklin Christoph paper. Here we're looking at Life paper. No bleeding and no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and it does have some shading going on here. Look at the tone of the D compared to the Atramentis. It definitely gets lighter as it's moving through. So there is some shading that's occurring with the stub. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, and that same great shading we saw in the previous writing samples. 6 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, that same amazing shading. This yellow shades like a green. So I've only seen this kind of camouflage-like shading really occur with greens, and here it is. 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us plenty of color variation, and we get plenty. How about Levenger? No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, same great shading. It looks amazing. 5 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and that same great shading. 7 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show plenty of color variation because there is plenty of color variation. Franklin Christoph, last up, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, but there is some shading because if you look at the Atramentis and the Gold, these are different tones. Look at the D and the GO, different tones there. So there is some shading that's going on with the stub. Now the extra fine is lighter tone than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, and it still shades. Not the same great shading, but it is still there. The K in quick is darker than the rest of the word. Brown starts dark and gets light. The word the is much darker than everything around it. Over goes from dark to light to dark. And only 2 seconds to dry. Now medium is a little darker than the extra fine, not quite as dark as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and it still has some shading, like Fox goes from mid to light to dark. Brown starts darker, works its way lighter. Over starts lighter, works its way darker. 4 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both, left to right, do show some good color variation, and we're still getting good color variation. And that is all that I have for the writing sample. So what do I think of Atramentis Emma Goldman Gold? It was surprisingly easy to read from the page. It's an ink that, because of its color group, is going to be completely overlooked by many people. And you're really going to be missing out on this. There's a lot of very good yellow inks out there, and this is one of them. It is not horrible to read off the page. I don't know about writing a whole page with it, but certainly to bring attention to areas in your notes, this is a good one. So what nib and pen is going to give the best writing experience? A very wet stub looks nice on the page, but again, I don't know about writing a whole page with it. A wet fine still puts enough ink down that you can easily read what's on the page, especially when it's being used as a complement. If you've enjoyed this video, remember, I like thumbs up, you like thumbs up, everybody likes thumbs up. Unless you didn't like it, then give me the thumbs down. Both are good. Thanks for watching.